name's not down, you're not coming in. Not tonight, not tonight.
We are Security Nation.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
Our expertise allows everyone to have a great time,
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
so they can feel safe and enjoy the occasion to the max.
Not tonight, you're not on the list.
Here we are, guys. Welcome to a small impromptu podcast tonight. We're going to be talking about CCTV, the benefits of CCTV and some of the incoming technology that you and I probably haven't got a clue with. I've got two guests tonight. So my first guest tonight is Lee. He comes with SafeView CCTV. He's one of their programmers. Andy, who's the owner of SafeView CCTV. And we're going to talk to these guys about what they do. And we're going to talk about some of the technology and stuff that's some of you might find quite interesting, actually, in some of the things we go. So, let's go to Andy first. Andy, tell me what it is you do.
We install CCTV, residential buildings, commercial, security companies like yourself, Marcel. We get called up. Can we come and fit security in there? We've been robbed last night, so we do a variety of things. We do body cams, deployable cameras, which city councils use for antisocial behaviour.
So when you say deployable, you're basically saying that, you know, pretty quick you can get a camera out there, not wired in, you can literally get it somewhere, get it viewed by our system, and you can monitor cameras anywhere, pretty much, yes?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah, so what we've got is a variety of cameras, solar panel, so it uses its own battery inside of it.
So it self-charges through
Yes.
the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's energy efficient. So if we're talking green, now with no one
Wireless. Yeah.
4G SIM card into it, can send it to your monitoring station.
And would I be right in thinking never-ending power supply, pretty much?
Never ending. So we've
Yeah.
got him on golf courses in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
If there was pitch black outside for 4 days in a row, the camera would still stay live.
Fair enough. Lee, tell us about some of the AI stuff and some of the technical stuff that's quite clever.
It's getting crazy now. Basically, you know, CCTV's coming a long way anyway. What the old analog, you know.
Yeah,
HD.
back in my day it was VHS, cassette,
you know,
and
just from
Betamax.
you know, just from your TVs and how things have been changing the quality, and CCTV's the same. It's just getting better and better. Some of the new AI stuff has got, you know, body.
Facial recognition.
Yeah, it's got facial recognition and that, but even down to, you know, watching the behaviour of people to determine whether they're going to be committing a crime or not.
Behavioural analysis.
That's
I
it.
saw a bit of that the
So
other
it's
day.
getting crazy now.
It does sound pretty mad. I got to be honest. I mean, as you know, you installed my systems on my control bus, and my control bus is widely regarded as one of the most sort of advanced systems out there. And our cameras, I've got to be honest, second to none. Our cameras, I can tell the time on your watch from across the event, no problem. Amazing, I will say that. But some of the systems that are added to it, the facial recognition stuff, the NPR stuff, now we've got thermal imaging with it, and all the other bits and pieces. And I think for people that listen, certainly if they have their own businesses and they want security at their house. I know with my house, when anyone comes onto the driveway, it notifies me, it does things like that, and people can go, oh yeah, I can do that with a Ring doorbell. But if you were to say, you know, what's the biggest difference? Obviously there's a money difference between a Ring doorbell and a system, for sure. But if I said to you, you know, for spending a few quid, what would be the advantages of a business when they have put a really significant system or a really good system into their business? What are the things that it would give them?
But a lot of the time, people say, "Oh, I've got this, I've got that, I can do this," and it can be like a strange one. You know, I've got insurance. When you come to claim that insurance, they don't want to pay out, and CCTV can be fairly similar, as in you think you've got it, but until you actually need it, you go back to view it, and the quality's not good enough. You know,
I had a quad bike nicked, and luckily for me, over the years, the amount of times I've seen CCTV and the person is unidentified, you cannot identify that person from the CCTV, whether it be a bit grainy, whether it be black and white, whatever. And over the years, you'd like to think you can certainly. That's the whole point, is being able to identify somebody,
Absolutely.
correct? You know, and thankfully, my CCTV, I could identify exactly who it is, and I know exactly who he is, and I know who the other friends of his were. And fortunate for me, my quad bike arrived back pretty soon. But, you know, for people that have got cameras that think they're okay and all the rest of it, what would you say to people that have got expensive shit that they're trying to guard with systems that are bought cheaply?
Absolutely. So some of the quality what we see on a daily basis, the easiest way I can put it, if you can buy it in a shop or you can buy it online, throw it in the bin. It's not worth having. Anything that's monochrome of a night time, the police cannot use it for evidence. They need to identify people.
Sorry, stop. Just go back to that. You say if it's monochrome being black and white, yes? And is that not admissible in court? Why do you say that? Just so that people can...
Okay, so say for instance someone's come onto your property of a night time. In the olden days, the police would look at a pair of trainers and say, the guy's got a pair of Adidas on, a pair of Nike. And then they would go out on foot or go out in their cars and they would look at the images of what they had, pick it up, and 8 times out of 10 they would get their person. Where it's evolved now with monochrome and 2 megapixel, 3 megapixel cameras, it's so dark outside, the street lights get turned off of a night time.
That's the point, yeah.
In a lot of areas, you need the cameras to be able to identify.
That's quite a valid point. I mean, and I noticed that in my street a while back. I don't know when it was, a few years maybe. We used to have like orange lights in my street, so it would always light up like a yellowy orange through our street. And over the, I couldn't tell you when it was, but say 11 o'clock at night, our street lights go off. So I now walk out into my street and it's pitch black. Pitch black. You know, the only lights you get are off our driveway when they come on at night. But street lights coming up, so that must render systems pretty...
Absolutely.
Pretty
You know,
useless.
since the colour view technology come on, where that means that the colour stays in full colour 24 hours a day, the imageries have been a lot better. So we work with Hampshire Police quite a lot. We have in excess of 15 to 20 inquiries a week from the police asking for CCTV footage from some of our customers' CCTV, but Lee can speak about it a little bit more. We own a sub-company called the Portsmouth Eye, where we have volunteers will walk out of a night time, and they use customers' CCTV to help secure.
Didn't you find a lost girl a while back? Somebody go missing, and didn't you guys... I remember seeing something about the Portsmouth Eye, and it was a load of volunteers like yourself with body cameras, went out searching, and she turned up eventually, correct?
Yeah, so we done it on a gal, and before Christmas, one of our big customers, he has CCTV in all of his properties, and we actually used the Portsmouth Eye to find the car what was stolen off of his drive at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And with the help of Hampshire Police, Portsmouth Police, and so on, and ourselves, and using the power of CCTV, we had his £100,000 Mercedes brought back to him within 40 minutes.
That's not bad going, I've got to be honest. That's pretty good. And Lee, I mean, for us, tell us, if a business was to, you know, consider CCTV, you know, let's just say mid-range. We're talking about somebody that wants to fit out a good system on their business. They want to be able to view it from their phone. They want to be notified if somebody's in their office after dark or whatever time it might be. What would be the best steps to take, really? Because I think this going out, people know what CCTV does to a degree. You're saying it can do a lot more, and I know that with the system that I've got, we're only scratching the surface with what it's capable of. You know, I don't proclaim to be a techie in any way, shape or form, but I sort of look at the system and think, holy shit, it does this, it does that, which is kind of good. And some of your systems that you can install, the picture quality is HD, they're 1080p recording. Tell me, what else do they do?
But ideally,
for the people that don't know.
you don't want to sometimes just look at the spec and go, oh, that's wonderful, I'll have that. You need to take everything else into consideration, you know, where it's going to go, what range the camera is, you know, putting it facing a certain direction, you know, just for instance, if the window was shining in too much light.
Tell me,
You know.
is there such a thing where cameras follow you?
Yeah, so you can have, as you know, on your control bus, you can have auto track and PTZs. So it will actually pick up someone coming into sight, and the camera will actually zoom in, follow them wherever they're walking. As long as the camera can see that person, it will follow them.
See, I kind of like that idea. I think it's pretty cool.
You know, some of the benefits of professional CCTV. We look after shopping centres. Crime at the moment has gone through the roof, as you know, in the security industry. And, you know, we've got systems where it actually do people analysis as they come through the door. So, for instance, if yourself, Marcel, walked in and out of a Pacific shopping centre 5 times within a course of a day, it would actually bring up in their monitoring station your picture.
Quite a good possibility if there's food in there.
Yeah, so it would bring up your picture, depending on how it's set up. So if you walked in and out of a certain shopping centre...
So there are analytics in the background that are running that are like, hang on a second, we've seen this guy
5 times. Is he a potential shoplifter? Is he a terrorist?
Okay.
So all of this is now into the CCTV rounds of cameras, and the cameras and the background analysis can actually tell you, is he walking into a shopping centre and he's got something on him? You know, has he left a bag?
So one of the things that I noticed on my Higgs
Central,
the central system, you can set it to detect weapons.
Correct.
And I thought, how the fucking hell does it know what a weapon is? But it does. So if there is something, I'm not saying that this happens a lot. Well, it might do in Portsmouth, but people walking in with an AK-47.
Yeah.
In theory, it picks that shape up. Correct me if I'm wrong, and it goes, hang on, you need to know there's a guy walking along with an AK-47. So I can only assume that if I was to go and buy an AK-47 toy, the ones that fire the little BB guns.
Yeah.
In theory, that camera could pick you up and send a warning to whoever's monitoring and go, there's a weapon there.
Yes, absolutely.
And you would, or rather the security company or whoever would go, we need to check if this is a BB gun or he's just bought from the toy store.
So automatically a security company will phone the armed police.
Yes, and say there is a guy with an AK-47 in the shop.
You know,
obviously common sense and a little bit of due diligence will decide, actually, we've just seen him buy it in this toy shop and it is what it is.
On top of that, you've got pub watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got people that's kicked out of pubs where they've been violent, and then the whole area will basically put them on pub watch. They're not going in that building.
Sure.
So now the CCTV can actually link into pub watch, and you can actually have facial recognition on cameras where, say for instance, they walked into one of your establishments where you've banned them.
Yep.
And someone else is working on that door, you've got their image on your system, and it will ping your mobile phone to say, actually, this guy's banned from here because he was in a fight last week.
And that triggers that camera in that venue.
Yeah, and absolutely. So then you already know, which you can then tell your security.
I know a little bit about the side of watching the cameras with the town centre and the whiskey ones and the town centre cameras, and it is totally reliant on human and human error should somebody get in. So they film or they see an altercation, they try to follow it as best they can.
Yeah.
And they could lose that person if it gets into a taxi or whatever. You know, it's easy for them if the guy goes from one venue straight to the next venue, but they can lose them just as easy. But if a camera down the other end of town on that system would pick up his image, it would automatically go, actually, I know you've lost him in the town, but he's now turned up at the other end of town. One of the cameras has recognised him and he's going into a bar there, which gives us the chance to say to that bar down the end, he's been turned away for whatever he's done up this end or whatever he's done. and the cameras have now picked him up. So there's an AI system in it in itself, which we're no longer relying on humans to always identify 100%. There is a system that can and doesn't sleep and is there, sat, waiting for that image.
Yeah.
Correct.
So your system, what you've got here, if you put in a black Mercedes-Benz registration number,
Yeah.
and you've got 800, 1,000 cameras across that area, it will ping every single camera as he's driving through it, and it then come back to your office. On number plates, you've got to have ANPR cameras,
Yeah.
and it will do it. But if you've got a face and you can put in this guy's dressed in a blue t-shirt, black trousers, white trainers, red socks, you can put that information into the actual system and then track him through the cameras.
Okay. So if I was to say, Lee, if you were to sort of pick out one of the functions that the average person wouldn't know these systems are capable of doing? You know, a bit of real clever shit here. You know, we know that CCTV films, we know that they're in colour, we know that they can be triggered by movement. Now we've got humanoid detection, so they pick up humans opposed to animals. But there's got to be some real clever shit in there as well. You know, that we sometimes go, fucking hell, I didn't know that happened, or didn't know that's capable of that. Or is there just loads of it?
There is loads of it. You know, really, it's whether you think it's the most used things are going to be the cleverest things, aren't they, really?
Yeah.
It's all well and good having something really clever, but if you don't use
But
it...
let me put it to you this way. I mean, sometimes for the average person, the more technology is not always best, but a simple, professionally functioning system which works, which is really simple to operate, I think, and I'm only talking for me, I like things to be really easy to work, to use, but really good at what they do. So if
So
the
line
camera,
Just go
crossings.
for, yeah, really simple system, line crossings, so you can get notified when someone comes into a certain area like we spoke about.
yeah,
And if it's a business, then yeah, I quite like the facial recognition.
okay. And for general people that are out there that, you know, don't necessarily know what these sort of systems cost, if I said to you, listen, I've got a free 4-bedroom house somewhere out in the forest, and I want a system installed where when I'm away it notifies me, obviously, but at the same time I can see the cameras, and let's just say for argument's sake my mum lives there, I want to keep an eye on my mum, and I want to be notified if anyone comes on her driveway after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Something like that, relatively. What would that cost? 1,500 quid-ish? 2 grand?
No,
20 grand?
No. So at the moment, us as SafeView, we've just done the Southampton International Boat Show
Yep.
as an exhibitor. So we've just got.
Did any boats get nicked?
No, there was some interesting days. I'll put it this way, you know, the security company were actually run it this year. One of the tents was broken into overnight,
Okay.
and the camera was about a mile away on top of one of the hotels,
Yeah.
and you couldn't see nothing. It was pitch black, couldn't see nothing, black and white cameras. The police they basically come and said, Andy,
Where was the security company when this was getting broken into? Interesting.
in a different place of the boat show. So you know, I know it was in excess of £16,000 to £20,000 worth of stuff what was stolen.
Okay.
Now it was actually physically right next door to our stand where it was broken into, and I was asked, was all of our outside cameras recording outside of the night time? And my answer to them was no, we turned it all off because we're only an exhibitor there. Now if we actually...
But it's not your responsibility
No,
to
that's
secure
right.
their site, is
It wasn't our responsibility, and as a company we abide by data protection laws.
Yeah.
Everything, when the police asked us for footage, we asked for a DP2 certification to allow the police access to that footage, because you shouldn't actually, if you have CCTV at home, you shouldn't actually just willingly give it to the police.
Yeah, they will expect that. I mean, they're quick enough to jump on you when you do something wrong, but when they need something, they'll just go, oh, we need it.
Yeah, you know, I'll be honest with you, Marcel. There was one incident, I was woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a telephone call from Portsmouth Police.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about
And
this.
they actually come to arrest me because I refused to get out of bed to give them the evidence. And
And it wasn't your actual CCTV?
no, it was one of our customer CCTVs. It was a fight what erupted outside of a pub opposite one of my customers' locations,
Yeah.
and the gentleman was very badly hurt. And you know, the police turned up an hour and 20 minutes later than the incident, and they come and arrested me to come and give them footage. I actually got a official apology by the Chief Constable of Hampshire.
You have that lady down there, the crime commissioner lady. What's her name?
Donna Jones.
Donna Jones.
Donna
You met
Jones.
her with me.
That's the lady I met once, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I spoke to her, but yeah, didn't seem to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Seem to float
we,
any
we
boats.
we actually deal with some of the councils now, and you know we've developed, designed, and manufactured a deployment camera. A lot of the cameras, what the councils use across the country, were purchasing a camera at £10,000 a camera.
That's a lot of money.
With 4 cameras on. So, for instance, I know a council which has got 36 of those, so that's £360,000 of taxpayers' money. And the images of the night time are in monochrome, black and white.
Which you said earlier can't really be used in court.
So you know, at the end of the day,
I'm just curious. I mean, is there anybody out? I mean, this is probably a question for everybody who sees this, but is there people that advise the council on going, hang on, if you need a system, fine, but let's go and find the right system. Let's find one that the evidence that's recorded is admissible in court, can be used, and let's at least get the best we can get for our money.
Not being funny,
£360,000 seems to be a lot of money
there was only this one company what was doing these specific deployment cameras, and we looked at it and we purchased one. Yes, I spent £10,000 on a camera, but I took it apart and then looked at everything what was inside of it and said I can do better. So
Okay.
we actually went out with our suppliers,
Yeah.
and we actually got them to build a recorder specifically for what my needs were.
Yep.
We then decided to use colour view technology of cameras, so it's in full colour,
Yep.
in 4K, so none of this 1080p nonsense anymore. We're talking 8 million pixels, which is 4K quality.
Yeah.
And
And this is a camera that runs off solar, correct?
no, this
No.
is one that runs off of streetlights.
Okay, so you can power off a street
Yeah,
light. Okay.
but solar panel ones, we can also have
Okay.
4K solar panel ones.
Okay. So this camera can pretty much be deployed. The one we're talking about can be deployed anywhere where there's a power supply.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've just done one for, we've just sold 11 of them to a company who build boats
Okay.
for all of their yards. So they've got street camera posts all the way round. They were quoted in excess of £100,000 for their camera system by one of their local companies.
Yep.
And they see me at Southampton Boat Show. They looked at my deployment cameras, so it's 4 cameras in one pod. So it's a 360-degree full angle. It also gives you for instance, to put a PTZ camera, like we were just talking about, which will actually follow someone across the yard into the same system on the same lamppost. So you can have 4 static cameras, 360-degree view. But if you've got it monitored like yourselves, and you want to look at someone that's a quarter of a mile away, for instance, you can use the PTZ to zoom into that person and then track him and follow him around it. So with a deployable camera and a security company, the world is the oyster. You can secure whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that we need to be quite clear on, the police no longer respond to alarms. It's pretty obvious that they don't respond to anything which is not a threat of safety or life and death. We've had that today, and I knew just from the fact that somebody was being threatened in the reception of an office today, and they rang us to send out a security company. And when we said, why do you need us, why don't you phone the police, They said we have, and they've got A, nobody to send us, and B, they believe it's a civil matter, even though the guy's inside the reception threatening us, he's an employee.
You know,
And I was like, well, we'll send somebody out. But for me, that was a bit of a strange one. But if I was to say to the people that listen to this, how does this affect their insurance and their insurances on buildings and whatever? Surely, if it's part of their insurance that they have to have a CCTV system, knowing insurance companies, they will be quite quick to look for a way out. And if your CCTV may be the excuse to get them to go, well, we're not paying for that because your CCTV is rubbish.
Okay, so some of the big national companies are SSAIB, which means they're an approved installer to a certain standard. Okay, so they put it to a monitoring station for an alarm activation, and they have something called RedCare.
Yes.
Yeah? And RedCare means that because they've passed all of these paperwork and all of these legislations, yeah, when they go to install a alarm system and it's being monitored by a monitoring station, yeah, who is also like ACAS Gold, for instance, is 3 in the local area of Southampton, Portsmouth, the police will respond to those if they have got someone. So
well, that's a big ask.
That's the thing, you know. We were sat there with Donna Jones, the police crime commissioner, and one of the questions what I can remember you asking her is, could you tell me how many beat officers were on the streets in the north of the city? And she was very reluctant to give you a figure. But in the end,
what she tried to do, she tried to use the Saturday night figure.
Yeah.
And I said, but these aren't guys. This is a van of 5 officers in the city centre. These aren't beat officers. And she tried to sort of muddy the figure because I asked her a straight out question: how many guys are on the beat in the rural areas and the suburbs of Portsmouth? And it actually boiled down to 2. And I said, so you've got 2 guys on foot covering the whole of Portsmouth. And then what she tried to do was say, oh no, we've got these guys in a van. I said, no, these are sat outside nightclubs and pubs. They're not beat officers. Some of them, and they included 2 dog patrol units. They are not beat officers.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, you're not really answering my question. And when she finally did answer it, it was 2.
Yeah, and
That's
that
a
was
lot of
scary.
walking.
And you know, you see by the look of people's faces in the room at the time, you know, people were getting worried. You know, a guy was phoned up 12 times. He phoned 999 12 times. Now we've got a massive problem where I live on the north of the city in Portsmouth with gang-related and cross-boundary drug-related and children problems. Antisocial behaviours got out of control across the whole of the south coast. And you know, we as volunteers walk out on the streets of the night time protecting our city. And to be fair with you, Marcel, you know, I love my town. I grew up in Portsmouth. I know that you're Southampton through and through. But you know, it's where I was born. It's part of the blood, and you know, I want to protect my city, and that's why Lee decided with myself that we would do the Portsmouth Eye.
So I just Googled something here. Portsmouth is 4,028 hectares, or 9,954 acres, which equates to 15.5 square miles, which means to walk it would take you 7 days. I tell you what, those beat officers, they must be fit.
Not only that, Marcel, outside of London, yeah, we are the second biggest populated town.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, look how small
Well, to be
we're an
fair,
island.
you guys let everybody in. You know, we try not to cut down there, but no.
Where's the dog station? That's what I can say.
But no, you know, joking aside, I mean, not being funny, but we're talking about CCTV and the benefits of it, and you know, we'll wind this up in a minute. But if you were to say, you know, what you think the best things are for CCTV, and what are the real benefits for somebody who's thinking about it, whether it be a business, whether it be their house. If somebody's genuinely thinking about it, and they're like, "Ooh, not really sure. What's the rest of it?" What would you suggest?
Okay, so my first thing I would suggest is don't buy anything online and don't buy anything in DIY shops. Screwfix, all of
Mhm.
that. It's DIY. Yeah? Pick it up, throw it in the bin if you've got it.
Okay.
Get professional equipment
I'm sure
installed.
B&Q would agree with you, but But a professionally installed system.
Yeah.
Okay, Lee, give me a reason why you think that's the way they should go.
Well, if you want to help prevent crime, you want decent cameras. You know, the police aren't going to do all the work for us. We all need to do our best to, you know, get the footage we can, get the images of the people, get them sent away, and then there'll hopefully be less crime around.
Well, I think it's an obvious. We live in a nation where cameras are everywhere for what they do, and
Big Brother's
whether-
watching
yeah,
you.
whether it be, I hate those average speed cameras. I don't, I think it's pretty safe to say most people do. I can't stand them, but we walk into shops, we're on camera. We walk into shopping centres, we're on camera. We walk down the street, we're on camera. So we know that we are a nation which is filmed constantly. The difference is when we use it for ourselves, for my home, for my business, for my offices, I want the best that I can get so that I can identify the person and be able to just easily clip it, say this is what I've seen, this is what I've got, but I want it so that nobody can come into my office without being on camera. Yeah, I get that some people will wear hoodies, face masks, and you can't identify them because they've got a mask on, you can't see them. But you may, through some mistake that they make, footprint, whatever it may be, you may be able to catch them down the road with the same gear on, but they've taken the mask off, whatever that may be. But I think just talking about the CCTV stuff that we're talking about tonight and the qualities of it, so the moral of this is get a professionally installed system. They're not expensive, they're not going to cost you an arm and a leg, and you can monitor it from your house, from your phone, from your laptop. Anything I've missed? No?
Anywhere in the world you can monitor.
Anywhere in the world. So, and that's a nice thing. And for me, certainly, I'm fortunate enough that my mum's up the road, but I would have a camera system there just purely for the fact that if anyone went to my mum's house after a certain time of night, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want anyone disturbing my mum after 7 o'clock at night or anything. So, for the guys that are watching this, it might be worth just chucking a camera on your elderly parents' house. I think that's not a bad thing, just to sort of say, look, we're keeping an eye. And you can set it, and I'm guessing you can set it that if anyone went there after 8 o'clock, it sends you a text to go, oh, who's at my mum's house? What are they doing there?
It'll actually show you the video of them walking into your property.
And if worst case scenario, you could always phone mum or dad. You're right. Who was the guy on the driveway?
But
That
you can
kind of
also
thing.
talk back.
Or, like you say, I can talk through the camera. That's another thing. Yes, you can talk through
Yeah.
the camera and say, "Excuse me, do you mind telling me who you are, what you're doing?"
Yeah.
My mum's elderly, and unless you've got a really good reason to be there,
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way. You best be gone. But my point is, these are just little things. I suppose people sometimes don't necessarily think that's an advantage of having these sort of systems.
Yeah, crime is the big one, but not only that, a lot of shops use it for their safety of their
I'll
staff
tell you,
as
do you know,
well.
do you know what I found? In a lot, so we do a fair bit of work with equestrian centres,
Yeah,
and we're monitoring horses. So just at the moment, I am actually monitoring 2 fields with 2 horses that are quite valuable. Stud horse, got the greatest job in the world. That thing, literally,
yeah,
10
Yeah.
grand a shot from him.
yeah.
Not bad for a horse. But I've got security that monitor the horse through the night, and we monitor the camera.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but it works. Well, look, we're going to wrap this up. But for you guys, I hope you found this a little bit interesting. I hope if there's anything you need to know about security, talk to SafeView CCTV. That's my friend Andy. That's my friend Lee. And any questions you want to know, you can come at me and I'll put them on to Andy. If you want to know anything more about CCTV, then ask away. But hopefully, just from what we spoke about, lets you know that these systems are out there and they don't cost an arm and a leg. And you can even use them as a present where you can buy them for your family just to monitor people and what have you. They're not just for crime,
And-
peace of mind.
And just a quick one, Marcel, on that note, for any of your customers and any of your people that's actually looking at the podcast, if you come back and say Security Nations 1, I'll give you 15% discount.
Oh, that's very nice of him. What a great guy Andy is. As you can see, he's given us a discount. But let us know if you guys want a professional system. You're more than welcome to come and view mine at the offices. I can show you the cameras we've got. But certainly Andy's your man, and I will say highly recommended. And as I said in my last video when I spoke to a company, Andy's actually not a ball ache to deal with. Quite a simple, easy guy to get on with, and he knows his shit, and he does know his stuff. So Lee, Andy, I'm going to say goodbye. Say goodbye, Lee. You're
Bye.
on.
Thank you.
Andy.
Goodbye.
And guys, hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's worth listening to if you guys are considering any kind of CCTV. It was something that we did tonight just ad hoc because one of my guests couldn't arrive for the festival one. Next week we will be doing a podcast reference festivals and events. The problem with the industry that it is saturated with, shall we say, non-speaking English SIA, how they got their licenses, what the SIA are doing about it, and we have asked the SIA to come on board yet again.
And they said
About 5 times, and they've said no. But guys, I hope what we've done tonight is a bit interesting for you guys. And like I said, Safe View CCTV in Portsmouth, these guys are the nuts when it comes to CCTV. I cannot recommend them high enough. And if you guys want to know any more about it and their systems, come at me. I'll pass you straight to Andy, or vice versa. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.